Hello, thank you for joining me again today on Our Time to Quilt. Today I'm just going to do a short little tutorial on the cute as a button quilt that I found that was designed by Susan Brubaker Knapp, and the link to it is going to be down below. And it is my favorite Halloween thing, candy corn. I've got all these fabrics left over from the block of the week Halloween quilt I did a few weeks ago. So let's see what I can put together with this one today. Alright? And so here is the pattern that I was able to print from online. Susan Brubaker Knapp designed this quilt, and I'll have the link down below. Here I made templates. So this, and I just save scrap fabric from packages and stuff. This is pretty sturdy stuff. And I made a template for this one, and a template for D, and then all the way down to my little A template. And it says on here that this should be 4 inches from top to bottom. I took a ruler and I measured it, and it's exactly 4 inches. If it weren't 4 inches, I would print it again, but I would go into my printer and turn off the button that says fit to page. I just want no restrictions on the printing, so I'll get the full size. So I've already started. I got so excited. I love candy corn. So I got excited, and then I said, oh, I'm supposed to show them. So I am very sorry, and I will show you now what I've done. And they're so small that I'm doing a scant 1/4 of an inch, just because I want them to show up really well. So I'm doing a scant 1/4 inch, and now I'm putting the little white tips on the candy corn. So I just check. I like the smooth side of the fabric, and if you look, this side is smoother than this side. This side looks just a little more coarse. So I put the smooth side down to the pretty side. It's easy when it's a colored fabric. Now this is a batik, but I noticed there were a few more oranges on this side. And then you can tell which side the orange is. And then I place my white. Now if you could, okay, let's say you haven't been sewing for 30 years like I have. I would just take this, fold it in half, and pinch it. And that way you find the center. And then I would do the same thing to this one. Fold it, making sure those edges are even, and give it a pinch. And that easily, you put the 2 pinches with each other, and then I run it through the machine. Alright, now I have my last one to go. I am so excited about this, and I'm using the scraps from the Halloween block of the week that I did in August, so I'm very excited. And this is just leftover fabrics. Let me put this where you can see it. This is my little seam ripper on the stand that I use to cut the chain piecing apart. And this is called chain piecing because you do it in a chain-like fashion. I'm going to press these, and then I will be back and show you what we do next. Now I have taken and pressed all of my cute little candy corn. Then the next step, I look at this drawing and I realize I need to take a piece D and a candy corn, then a piece E, and then another candy corn, and then another piece D. So let me just follow this. Alright. And see, you really don't need a lot of words. Pictures will show you exactly what you need to do. So I've got my piece D. I put the curved side to the curved side, and then let me run it through here. Let's see what this looks like. Oh, that's cute. And I used a black background that had multiple colors to brighten it up. So I'm sorry you can't see this, but I ran the iron over it. Now I'm going to take piece E and put to this other side. I just line the edges up. I line the edges up like this. Now, I have that far done. So I know that I need to take another candy corn and line it up to this edge. Making sure that this bottom piece goes just past the bottom of the other one. See what I'm saying? Alright. And I just know from experience how this is going to end up lining up. At the top where it's pointed, see how I knew it would line up and that the bottom needed to be nice and straight. Now let me press this and I'll be right back. And I press the seams to the dark background, the solid piece. I do not want the black background to show up through the white fabric, and that is what would happen. So look at that, isn't that cute? So now to finish this row, I've got to put a D piece now to finish this row off. And remember, it's more important to line up the bottom than the top, because the top is the way it goes off at a point. It will fit. It's the bottom you have to get to match better. Alright, let's see now. That is cute. I curved in here. For some reason, I made a large curve, and I could tell when I went to pull it out that it's not square. So let me fix this. This now looks much better. I'm going to press to the black background again. And now I'm going to make 3 more of these so that I have a total of 4. Because she has 1 square here, and she has 1, 2, 3, 4 of these units. I'm going to have to cut squares there. I figured there'll probably be about 4 inches square, since I know that's the height of this section, piece E. So I need to cut out 4 dark squares, and then I have to figure out, using this, I'll measure and see what size to make the center square. Let me measure this. Looks like it comes out 6 inches, but I'm not going to cut the center square yet. Let me get all of these made and then get an average width of this component. All right. You have to do something with these pieces called the regulars and reverses. You see these? And all you have to do to get a regular and a reverse is have your fabric. I folded my fabric right sides together, and that way when I cut out my template and opened it up, you'd have one regular and one reverse. Otherwise, if you're just going to cut out one at a time, you need to then turn over the template and cut your second one. You would need to cut one and then turn over your template and cut the second. So I always fold the fabric right sides together, cut both at one time, and then I have one regular and one reverse. So now I'm going to make the last two. I've got two more pieces to match this. Looks like they're going to finish up to about 5.5 inches. They should be about 4 inches long. So that looks pretty good. I like it. I like it. This one is not squaring up, so I need to come in here and redo a couple of my little seams and try again. My seams got a little too big here. So let me try this again and see where I end up. I need four 4-inch squares, and I was going to be short if I had left it the narrow way with unusual space on each end. So what I'm going to do now is I sewed it to make one large piece of fabric, and then let me see if I can do anything better with this. It may not work, but I'm going to give it a shot. Okay, so is it 8 inches wide? Oh, it's not quite 8 inches wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Still going to be just a touch short. Let me see. What do I have in the way of scraps? This is why I save all my scraps. Okay, I'm not seeing much in the way of scraps, but let's see what I can do here. All right, so okay, I'll almost have it. Luckily, I have these 2 strips left over. So now I'll sew these on together. Okay, now I have a large enough scrap of fabric to cut 2 more 4-inch squares. See how I pieced it? This is not going to be a competition quilt. This is not going to be an heirloom quilt. This is a fun little Halloween decoration. So Alright, so I can see right where I have enough 4 inches. Oh, I've got plenty of space. So I'll do my first cut down here. Go over 4 inches. Okay. So here is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 inches here. And then I'm going to start right here and cut 4 inches here. All right. And the lucky thing about this, with all of the stripes, you hardly notice where it was pieced together. Very little. No one's going to pay attention. So now I've got these. Let me get this out of my way. Okay. Alright, so now we have, they're all going to go like this. So, what we need now is a 5.5 inch square for the center. So I'm going to go cut that. Okay. I'm going to use this fabric and cut. Let me think. Do I want to use... No, that might be too busy. Let me see. This might be pretty. Let me see. Five and a half inch center square. Okay. 5.5 inch center square. Now, what I've decided to do is in this center square, I'm going to make a pumpkin. Because I thought, what could I put in this center square? here is some great pumpkin fabric. I'm going to roughly measure it. I've got it on a fold, and I'm roughly measuring about half of my way there. Now, then I want the height to be about right. So I'm going to make a slightly craggy pumpkin to put on the center square. Let's see how this is going to look. I think that's going to be cute. So now what I need to do, press under the seam so I can then just stitch it in place. And I also need, I will fold this down good. I need a piece of fabric for a stem. So let me find a stem fabric. I just thought of something. I think this would make good stem fabric. Okay, so I'm going to fold these under, iron them under. I'll be right back. Alright, so I just went to my ironing board and used some fray check, a fray type liquid, stop fraying, to just make sure, and then pressed it to kind of hold the edges down. And now I can take and sew it on the back of this. But I want to change my thread color, so I have something that fits in a little better. So now I'm going to get ready to sew this down, but I want to go ahead and pin it first. Because what I find is, even if you're trying your best, it will try to go askew on your fabric. So, let me pin it. And before I'll put my stem on up here. Okay. Get my stem on. I'm using applique pins. They're small and easy to maneuver around. Now this just had a simple square in the middle, and that is absolutely fine to leave that square in the middle. I just love to, if I can add a little bit of fun, I love doing that. Then I'm just going to take and do a little stitch right along the edge of this. Tucking anything in that needs to be tucked in. Now, there are probably some people who would say put some interfacing or stabilizer on the back, but I don't really think this is going to give me much trouble. Making sure all the little edges are tucked in. And you know what I want to do before I finish this? Let me find some stuffing. Okay, I found some stuffing, so let me see how this is going to work. Where I've already stitched, might as well take those pins out so I can get the stuffing in. And I love using chopsticks, any kind of pusher I can, a nice wooden pusher like this to put the stuffing in. So let's see. I'm going to bring the stitching almost to the edge. Then I'll stuff it. That'll make it even easier. Alright, I've almost got it fully stitched. Let me get my pins in place. Alright, now I'm going to take and put some stuffing here. This is one of the things I've always enjoyed about doing any kind of quilting project, is thinking out of the box, making it fun, making it different, making it my own. Now, I haven't sewn the stem one, so I'm going to be careful. We don't want too much. And then I've got a surprise, because you know how the pumpkins have that ribbing on them. Well, let's see how we're going to do that. I think that's going to be fine. So now I'm going to go in here and sew the last few inches. So now I've sewn this on, I've sewn the top little stem. Now I am making the ribs on the pumpkin. And this turns it from an orange ball to a real pumpkin. Okay, So now, here is my cute little pumpkin. I'm going to give it a little bit of a press from the back because I still want it to retain it close to the 5.5 inch square that I need. So let me go press it real quick. Now that I've got this done, I will sew this to the top. And sew this to the bottom. Alright, so now I have the center section. Let me press it. I like pressing between every stage because I think it just makes the next stage work that much smoother. Now I'm going to put the side row on and pin where it matches the other seams. So here it is. All I have to do is a little bit of quilting, put it together, bind it in a snap, and it'll be ready for the wall. Till it's time to quilt again. Have a great week and do something to feed your soul. Bye-bye.